If your spouse has told you they'll never sign papers, never agree, never let this happen, take a breath. In Colorado, stopping a divorce isn't actually their decision to make. In the next few minutes, you'll understand how a Colorado divorce moves forward even when one spouse refuses to cooperate. You'll learn what a refusing spouse can do, what they can't do, and the specific moments when talking to an attorney makes sense. If you've been waiting for permission to move forward, this is worth your time. Here's the foundation. Colorado doesn't require both spouses to agree before a divorce can move forward. One spouse can start the process on their own. Your spouse's signature on some agreement isn't the price of admission. That surprises a lot of people. Movies and TV love the scene where someone refuses to sign and everything grinds to a halt. Real life doesn't work that way in Colorado. The court doesn't ask whether your spouse approves of the divorce. The court asks whether the marriage is irretrievably broken. One spouse answering yes is sufficient. And if your spouse refuses to participate at all, the case can still move ahead. If a party has been properly served, the court will proceed with a default hearing if your spouse refuses to show up. But here's the thing. If a spouse can't stop a divorce, why do these cases still get stuck for months? That comes down to the difference between stopping a divorce and slowing one down. A spouse who won't cooperate still has real options, just not the one they think they have. They can't veto the divorce, but they can contest the terms. Property, debt, parenting time, support. Any of those can turn into a genuine dispute, and disputes take time. They can also slow things down in less official ways, ignoring paperwork, missing deadlines, refusing to exchange the required financial information. Each of those creates friction, and friction costs you time and energy. And if you're the one who wants the divorce, that friction can feel personal. It usually isn't strategy so much as an emotional response. People stall because they're not ready, because they're angry, or because they believe that delay will change your mind. Understanding that won't fix it, but it helps you stop waiting for a moment of cooperation that may never come. The bottom line is this. The destination isn't in question. The route and the timeline can be. I can't promise you a time frame because every case is different, and anyone who promises you one isn't being straight with you. Refusing spouses tend to fall into one of two camps, and your next steps look different depending on which one you're dealing with. Camp 1. The spouse who fights loudly. They respond to everything, argue everything, contest every issue. That's stressful, but it's visible. The court process is built to handle that type of disagreement. Camp 2. The spouse who goes silent. No responses, no signatures, no engagement at all. That feels like a dead end, but it usually isn't. Courts have a path for cases where one party won't participate. Silence doesn't equal veto power. Here's some practical next steps. First, don't wait for cooperation to begin. If the cooperation was coming, you probably wouldn't be watching this video. Second, keep good records. Save messages. Keep copies of anything you file or receive. Note dates. If your spouse later claims that they were never told, your records tell a different story. Third, follow the court's process exactly. When one spouse won't cooperate, the process itself is what carries the case forward. Skipping steps or improvising is how avoidable delays happen. Fourth, be honest about the level of conflict you're facing. If your spouse is contesting parenting time, hiding financial information, or turning every step into a battle, that's not a do-it-yourself situation. That's a situation where legal advice protects you. And fifth, pace yourself. A divorce with an uncooperative spouse is a marathon, not a sprint. Steady and documented beats fast and frustrated every time. One more thing, and it matters. If your spouse's refusal comes with threats, intimidation, controlling behavior, or any concern for your safety or your children's safety, treat this differently. That's no longer just an uncooperative spouse. That's a situation where you should talk to an attorney before you make your next move so you understand your options and can plan safely. The same goes for complicated finances, business ownership, or disputes about your kids. The more moving pieces, the more an attorney's guidance matters. So, can your spouse stop you from getting a divorce in Colorado? No. They can slow it down. They can contest the terms. They can make it harder than it needs to be. but they can't hold you in a marriage you've decided to leave. The practical takeaway is this: you don't need permission. You need a plan. And the level of resistance you're facing tells you how much help that plan requires. If you're facing a spouse who won't cooperate, you don't have to sort this out on your own. Schedule a consultation with One Accord Legal to discuss your situation. Bring your questions, bring your concerns, and get a clear picture of where you actually stand. The link is in the description below.